Hello, how are you feeling today, my friend? We finally got it. We finally got some cards that we should have been getting for a very long time, including Twinkle Stars for Abyss actors. So I thought it will be a good time to just make the list on them, which will be very, very cool. I'm just going to say this right now that this list is not supposed to be competitive whatsoever. It's just a list for fun, and trust me, it's a lot of fun. But the point is, do not expect it to be like with crazy text or stuff like that. So, it's just a list for fun. But before we'll jump into it, I'm going to remind you once again, as a subscriber a day, keep the depression away and help the channel. So if you want to support me, also follow me on social media. I would really much appreciate it. And we're so close to 1400. So it's a great time to join the family. But without further ado, let's jump right into the list. So let's start off with the list and with this pure fun list, which is really, really cool. So I hope you will enjoy this one. But let's start off with the bosses of the archetypes. So starting things off, we're running 3 copies of Mellow Madonna, followed up by 3 copies of Superstar, and run 1 copy of Evil Heel, which is a little bit of debatable, but I think still that is just a very, very needed monster. But let's get over these really, really quickly because there are some few things to explain about them. So first things first, let's start off with Mellow Madonna, which is very, very important. First and foremost, she has a very, very annoying restriction with her search effect. Her search effect is like you activate her in the scale, she's amazing, she's skill 0, you pay 1000 life points, and then for the rest of the turn after you search the Abyss Actor card, you get to lock yourself to only special summoning Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters. Why is that important? Because you lock yourself out of this guy. So if you didn't summon him first, and that's a mistake that I myself made multiple times, you do not get to use his effect. Do understand in advance that you need to either Pendulum summon and get him first before you activate her effect to complete your scale, because otherwise, or get the search, otherwise it will not work. Just do understand it in advance. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Secondary effect, which is or should I say the monster effects, is something that doesn't really comes up that much because this archetype, like I said, very, very restrictive and just lock you to your own archetype. So the level and everything doesn't really comes up that much. But she does have a nice effect when a pendulum monster is getting destroyed. She special summons itself from the hand, and then if an Abyss script activates the effect, you get to, special summon level 4 or lower Abyss Actor directly from your deck, and then bounce it to your hand until the end of the during the end phase. During the end phase, you get to bounce it back. I don't know why I got stuck there for a second, but the point is, she gives you the ability to she's just amazing. She's a nice search, but very, very restrictive search. But she's also kind of a battle trap, which is also really, really cool. Next up, we have 3 copies of the main boss himself, which is Superstar. Superstar is very good. You tribute an Abyss Actor, like when he's in the scale, you tribute an Abyss Actor, and then he add an Abyss script directly from your graveyard to your hand, which is very, very important. Sometimes you do need this recyclability, because this deck is very good in the grind game if it's able to just pull your opponent into it. It's not a strong deck, but when it's just able to pull you into the grind game and just going to grind you to dust. If it's able to get to that, because it's a deck that's just very, very good in gathering resources. But the point is, you contribute an Abyss Actor, get an Abyss script back to your hand, but the main thing with this guy is that when you Pendulum summon it, your opponent cannot activate, spell or traps effects when he's normal or special summon. And then once per turn, as a soft once per turn, he's giving you the ability to set an Abyss Actor directly from your deck, but you send it to the graveyard during the end phase. But the point is, you get an Abyss script directly from your deck, which is really, really important. So that's really good. Most of the time, you just go with a combo with him because your opponent will not be able to activate spells and traps to him. Obviously, counter traps and stuff like that will be able to, but let's say he was not able to activate anything. You summon this, then you activate the effect of the Best Abyss script, which is Rise of the Abyss King, which if you have level 7 or higher, your opponent cannot activate card and to respond to its activation. And then you just pop the entire field. It's really, really good in that regard. And then lastly, Evil Heel, which I mentioned. This is a card that you could cut down for a second Sashi Rookie, which I do run at 1, and you will explain myself. But the point is, this card is just really, really good. It's a low scale as well. Sometimes you do need the scale 1 Although, actually, no, you don't really need a skill 1. But the point is, it's just a big boy that's just able to just lower your opponent attack monster by treating an Abyss Actor monster, and then it's like, you know, it becomes like a 0 attack, and then you will be able to get over it. Or if you are able to Pendulum Summon it, which is very rarely happens, he's able to reduce a monster attack by 1,000 for each Abyss Actor monster you currently control, and then if you destroy the monster, you get an Abyss script directly from your graveyard set to your field, which is really, really cool. But the point is just really good scale. The problem is he's a level 8, but it's whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much does it for your 7 Abyss Actor boss monsters. Now we'll move on to the rest of the archetype. So let's start off with the little guys. First off, let's start off with Curtain Raiser, which I think most people know, followed up by 3 copies of Wild Hope, 3 copies of Comic Relief, 3 copies of Extras, 1 copy of Sasiruki, which I will try to put it not in the light too much for you guys, because unfortunately the light is a little bit weird, and then 1 copy of a proxied Twinkle Little Star, because unfortunately I don't really have a choice on that matter, because Rise of the Duelist didn't really arrive for me yet, technically. You know how my country sometimes is weird, because we don't really have a whole lot of things in terms of card games. But yeah, the point is, you run one of the new card. But let's get down to all of these and then we'll get to the new card, because the new card is probably the least important but still very important, which I will explain, but let's get down to them. So first off, Curtain Raiser, most people know what he does. He's in the scale, once per duel. If you control no monsters, you get to special summon him. But the other effect is, which is very, very important, is that first and foremost, he become double his attack, which become 2200 if you control no other monsters except him. But that's not the most important one. The other important effect is that if you have an Abyss Actor in your extra deck, you get to pitch an Abyss script directly from your deck to the graveyard, and then add that one to your hand, and it's a soft once per turn. Now why is that good? Well, it's able to fill your graveyard with the Abyss scripts that you want to, which then can also work with your other Abyss script that just distribute an Abyss Actor monsters to then specifically retrieve that said Abyss script. And then also be able to get one of your extra deck monsters back to your hand, which then just means that you don't need to Pendulum Summon it and get it stuck in the extra deck and not be able to get it out, which is really, really important because, you know, Pendulum monsters still are kind of like, you know, hindered by the Master Rule 4 effects, which did not really go out on them. So just do understand that in advance. It's just really good of a card. Then Wild Hope, this guy, the cowboy dude, he's interesting. He's in the scale, like, you know, if you're able to pop him or you're getting popped, he gives you a search for an Abyss Actor monster. But unfortunately, it's, or should I say Abyss Actor card, but unfortunately it mostly doesn't really happen unless, of course, your opponent get over it or you yourself crash into it, because unfortunately the archetype don't really have an ability to pop for you stuff. So yeah, you know, it's kind of annoying. But he also have a very, very nice effect, which he turn your other skill into 9, no matter what it is, which is very, very good. It does lock you to Abyss Actors, but who cares? You get to essentially Pendulum Summon, even if you have a skill 2 in your other skill, like, you know, have even the same skills in the other side. It's just really good on that regard. So that's pretty much what he does, and it's also getting bigger if you're specifically have him in the, you know, in the main monster zone, getting 100 attack for each different Abyss Actor, but that's pretty much doesn't matter. So yeah, that's pretty much what he does. He just fix your scales if you need to. Comic Relief is a very interesting one. Comic Relief is a creature swap on the scale. It's a scale 8, which is also very, very important. But the other effect of him is that during the standby phase, he's able to switch control. But if he switch control, doesn't really matter, as a soft once per turn, he's able to like, you know, the owner able to force it to pop a set Abyss script. Why is that good? Well, because it's switch control to your opponent, you get to deactivate the effect of the Abyss script that you popped, which is very, very powerful. So if you have 2 of these and your opponent has a monster, you can just force your opponent to pop and take said monster, which is very, very cool. Extras is pretty much just 3 copies of every Abyss Actor you have in your deck. In the scale, if your opponent controls a monster, you get to special summon it. But in the monster zone, you can pretty much tribute it and put another Abyss Actor monster in your Pendulum zone. But for the rest of the turn, you cannot activate Abyss Actor Extras effects So in the scale, if you're trying to activate his effect to special summon before you just activate his effect to tribute, after you activate his effect to tribute, you will not get that. But it's 3 copies of everything, and of course it's locked you to only Abyss Actors. Lastly, Sasiruki, before the new guy. Sasiruki is just a card in the Pendulum scale, just protecting your Abyss Actors from destruction, and then popping himself, and if you get popped, he's popping a level 4 monster or lower monster to your opponent, which is alright, I guess. But the other nice effect about him, which is that's why some people like to run him at 2, is that he's a very nice stall card. You put him, he cannot be destroyed by anything for the first time. When he's even your opponent have to smash into him twice. But also after that, he summons a level 4 lower Abyss Actor directly from your deck, which could be a wild hope. So your opponent have to smash to it again and also give you a search, which is really, really cool. Again, it's depending, of course, on the game, but I do like the 1 copy. I think 1 copy is more than enough because it's very, very searchable. But again, if you want to run a second one and just cut Evil Heal, that's up to you. Next up for the new guy, which is Twinkle Little Star, which is image should be appearing on screen at this moment. Twinkle Little Star is just a card that just helps you push double or nothing out of the deck and kind of make more space in the extra deck, although it doesn't really matter. But the point is, the guy just giving you the ability, or the girl, giving you the ability to attack multiple times in the scale, and can also attack multiple times in the months, like when it's on the field itself. Also, it's a scale 9, which is also a very, very nice benefit. The point is, you just need this for being a scale 9 and just making you able to OTK very, very easily. More than 1 copy is not really necessary from what I've seen, but I just still think the card is very, very great. But that's pretty much does it for the Abyss Actor monsters. There are a lot to explain about these guys, so I took my time with them because I think they need a little bit of an explanation. But now we'll move on to the other supporting engine, which is the Mythical Beast engine, which I run, which is 2 Cerberus, 2 Jackal King, and 1 Garuda, which is the other engine of Pendulum that I decided to run in this deck. Again, the ratios could vary. You can also run Goliath if you want to, but I decided to go with this because I felt it's the most consistent. The point is, these are cards that you can summon out of your scale with this guy, because he can say special summon any Pendulum monster, but then put in the scale a different Abyss Actor with a different name. So it's like, it can put anything out, so that's really, really cool. But the point is, these guys are great. This one in the scale, pop himself to search this, but even if your opponent stops this, you can get this guy out of your scale, which is really good because of this guy. And also, he can just banish for your opponent cards, which is very, very good when you're going second, which is very, very powerful. So that's very, very nice. Also, you can just Pendulum, use him, search this, special summon him from the extra deck, and then, after you summon this, and then Pendulum summon, and then use his effect, and then just lock yourself for a Best Actress for the rest of the turn. It's just really, really cool in that regard, and Jackal King is just negations, which is really nice. But the point is, these guys just work really well with each other. And then you also have Garuda, which is the other target if you open up with this in your opening hand, because it's sometimes happened. But the point of Garuda is that this guy also has multiple purpose. It can pop spell and traps while in the scale, and also he can just pretty much, if you have multiple counters, you not be able to do with them anything. During your opponent's turn, he can just stop the summon from happening. If they're summoning something, remove 3 counters, special summon himself, and then bounce the monster back. So it's kind of like a compulse, so that's really good. So these do their work. You can just run anything else that you wish in terms of Pendulum, but I feel like these just do what they need to do, and I think they're just a very, very nice spice in the deck, because you can just summon them from the scale still with Hyper Director, which is really cool. But that's pretty much does it for the monsters. Now move on to the spells. 2 copies of Fantastic Theater, 1 copy of Terraforming, 2 of Rise of the Abyss King, 2 Abyss Tainment, 1 Opening Ceremony, and then 1 Fantastic Terror, or Romantic Terror, sorry, not Fantastic Terror. But let me explain these very, very quickly. So first off, Abyss Playhouse Fantastic Theater is a very, very good field spell card, although I wished it was a little bit better and not ask you to reveal an Abyss script and an Abyss Actor monster to search an Abyss script. It really should have been like, if you reveal an Abyss Actor, you get an Abyss script. If you reveal an Abyss script, you get an Abyss Actor monster. But regardless, that's what we got. It's still very, very good. I do run the 1 Terraforming, not 3 of these, because I just like the ability to flex and then up my deck with Jackal King, so that's just also really good on that regard. But the main part of this card is that you can force your opponent to pop your set cards, because this effect says, like, you know, he can make an effect like once into your opponent's card effect becomes set, destroy a set card your opponent, a spell trap your opponent controls. So that's pretty much like make them destroy your best scripts or other card, which we'll get to it. But the point is, it's just really good, and you are able to activate these cards' effects, the secondary effects, if you need to. But now let's move on to the Abyss scripts themselves. So for the Abyss scripts themselves, you have first off Rise of the Abyss King, which I said before, just being able to pop up to the number of attack position Abyss Actor monsters you control with different names. And if you have a level 7 or higher, your effect cannot be interrupted or activated something in response to. But if it gets popped by your opponent while you have an Abyss Actor monster in your extra deck, and all of these also search shirts that claw that they need an Abyss Actor monster in your extra deck, you get to search 2 Abyss Actors and or Abyss Scripts in your and Abyss Scripts into your hand with different names. So that's really cool on that department. This one is the one that I mentioned, that up to twice per turn contribute an Abyss Actor and then set an Abyss Script directly from your graveyard to your side of the field. So it's giving you the ability to reuse these cards, which is really cool. And then the other effect is, if that it gets popped, you get to summon Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters from your deck to your side of the field. Special summon as many as you want. Like, it doesn't restrict you. Opening ceremony is that you're getting 500 health, or should I say life points, for each Abyss Actor monster you currently control. And if it's get popped, you get to draw until you have 5, which is really, really cool on that department. And it's pretty much one of the cards that you want to pop immediately if you're able to. Just able to gain you enough resources, but only one, in my opinion, is necessary right now. And lastly, Romantic Terror. You return a card, Abyss Actor monster from your field to your hand, Pendulum monster. And then you summon an Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your extra deck with a different name from that monster, and in defense position. And that's also really cool because it just have some nice interactions. So sometimes you want to get a monster out of there and you want to get some specific monster to your side of the field, which is really cool. Or also even dodge removal or stuff like that, and banishing effects and stuff like that. And lastly, the other effect is that if it get popped, it's get to set any number of Abyss scripts. So that's the point of this guy. But yeah, that's pretty much does it for the Abyss scripts. I found that this sweet number of like 9 overall just works very, very perfectly, because you want to see them in your hand, and they are searchable, but you don't want to see them way too much. But for the last cards, for the spells, running 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, and then the 2 honorary Abyss script cards, Waking the Dragon, because if your opponent popped this, you get an extra deck monster. So it also works really well with Fantastic Theater. But that's pretty much does it for the main deck. Very much long explanation on the main deck, because unfortunately the main deck needs a lot of explanation. But now we'll move on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're starting things off with the most important card on the deck, which you have to run 3 because of grind games and stuff. 3 copies of Abyss Actor Hyper Director. Now, Hyper Director is a very, very important card. First off, once again, he lock you for Abyss Actors for the rest of the turn if he activates his effect, and his effect stays as you get to target a card in your Pendulum Zone, and then special summon it, and then place another Abyss Actor, or should I say another Pendulum monster, Abyss Actor monster with a different name from your deck or extra deck to your side of the field, which is very, very important, because sometimes you could summon anything you want, but you do have to place an Abyss Actor. If you choose, like, you summon a Mellow Madonna, you have to place something like a Superstar instead of a Mellow Madonna, which is really cool. So the point is, it's just really good, and you can unclog your scales from the Mythical Beast if you want to, and he's just a very, very excellent card to just search whatever you need, which is really cool. And again, lock you for the extra for the rest of the turn, but who cares? Now we'll move on to your Extra Foolish Barrow, to Waking the Dragon targets. We have Exterio, Crystal Wing, and lastly we also have Totally Awesome for your negations, because Totally Awesome can steal anything, and it's just really cool. I felt like these 3 what I want. You can also run Arsenal, but I just specifically like Totally Awesome, unfortunately, better. I do have Arsenal, don't worry, I just like Totally a little bit better. Then for your rank 7 stuff, these guys, also Baguska, if you need to stall, I guess, for that. And then, lastly, Deco Talker, Unicorn, Phoenix, Apprentice, and lastly also Gravity Controller, which is absolutely amazing with this deck sometimes. So you do want to run the one Gravity Controller. But yeah, that's pretty much does it for that. Not really a whole lot to explain about these extra deck, because the extra deck is pretty much the most important part of the deck. The main core of the deck, and should be explained in thoroughly, is the main deck, which I did take my time with it. But the extra deck is something that kind of doesn't really need to be explained, because you just throw mishmash of cards and Hyper Director, which is very, very important. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I decided that I'm not going to do a side deck for this one specifically, just because I kind of feeling like I'm repeating my side decks over and over for this one. And it is, like I said, the deck just for fun. But for next time, I will do. I also have other decks and other cards that just finally arrived in the mail, so do be expecting on that. And like I said, Phantom Rage set review should be something that will happen in the near future. Probably next week, but we'll see about that. But that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, as usual, to like and subscribe. And remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, stay safe, and see you next time. Bye-bye.